It's Wednesday morning. You know what that means. It's time for another episode of the Alabama Slam Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Hanna.
What's going on, guys? It's Patrick Akers.
And I think Chad Gable might be onto something. I'm pretty sure Bo Dallas might be Uncle Howdy.
You think? You think? I think I've heard a rumor that Patrick was the one that denied Coach Saban entrance at the SEC Media Days this week.
It was not me. However, I have seen the security guard. He's sort of semi-famous down here in Dallas right now. So,
yeah, for those, we missed last week. Patrick was on vacation, and this week he is in Dallas on work detail at SEC Media Day, and so he'll have a full report back hopefully next week. Let's get into AEW for the week, I guess, guys. I was surprised when I got a text from Steven the other night, said that he thought that this was a pretty good episode. I can't remember exactly what your words were, but
I said I had issues, but this was pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I still had complaints, but I thought this was a decent episode.
Yeah, same. There were a couple things that I wasn't super fond of, but overall, I thought last week's was a pretty damn good episode, all things considered, and I think we're on track for a really good episode on Wednesday night as well.
I'm going to start off by saying this week's Forbidden Door matches were Tomohiro Ishii and Tommy Billington.
They can't all be cowboys.
That's right. That's right. So the first note from Steven about Ospreay's promo, where he self-admitted the next day on Twitter that maybe he was a little scattered and maybe made a mistake in his promo. So Steven, you got to call out Ospreay for that, right?
Yep, I mean, Ospreay promo, MJF is mad because, let me check my notes, Tony Khan gave him a bunch of money and to get a tattoo or something?
Yeah, besides this little slip up, I thought it was a pretty good promo. His intensity was there. It was a good way to start a show.
He's rambled a little bit to me on this, but, you know, it's whatever. I get it.
Yeah.
I hope he loses the belt.
I think he will. I honestly think he will. I think that heel MJF will take the belt from him at Wembley. They already gave Ospreay his Wembley victory. He gave it last year against Chris Jericho. Yeah. And that was the first one. This All In, the Wembley sequel. The sequels are never as good as the original, right? And this will probably be the case as well. So why not give it to a heel MJF? He screws the home country babyface, and we fully solidify him as the mega heel in AEW, which, by the way, just doing fantastic work right now. There are two guys in AEW that are doing a heel shtick that makes complete sense and is making for some riveting TV, and that's MJF and Hangman Adam Page.
I'm going to disagree with you right now. There's one guy doing amazing heel work, and that is MJF. And then there's one guy doing amazing babyface work who is being falsely accused of being a heel because he ain't wrong.
He came out of the face tunnel the other night, right? And that's why Jeff Jarrett was looking for him, like, what the hell? And he comes out of the face tunnel. The
dude had his house broken into, had his family threatened to the point that he had to move, and everybody is on Swerve's jock like it is out of style. Dude is not a bad guy. Dude is an angry dude who doesn't understand why the world is against him, and I'm with him.
But isn't that what makes for a great villain, though? Is a villain that at their core is entirely right. It just so happened, like, this is wrestling. It's kind of weird. We talked about it on this podcast. Why all of a sudden did Swerve start getting cheered? Well, because he's kind of cool. And, like, wrestling fans just are going to cheer for what's cool. It made no narrative sense whatsoever. He never apologized for anything that he did.
He needs to pay for his crimes.
And you could make a case that maybe he will. I mean, at this point, as much as I think all of us like Swerve Strickland, would the belt be better suited? And would the show itself be better suited if the belt was on Hangman Page? I don't know. That's a question at this point. Because that promo that he cut back 2 weeks ago now in the tunnel that they posted online, I texted you guys. I was like, listen, I will put up with all of the terrible AEW Dynamite shows. I'll put up with all the terrible content. Because every once in a while, there's a 3-minute sequence It happens in those backstage promos in the moment where you get that just electricity that was Hangman Adam Page, where he was like Steven said, he was talking about he had to move. He broke into his house. He grabbed his baby, scared his wife, and he never paid for it. And they cheered him for it.
And we all love him for it.
Yep.
He ain't wrong.
So this fallen hero, Hangman Page, that's an intriguing story. And it seems as if really Hangman's character arc, going back to the very beginning of AEW, has really sort of been like the kind of story of AEW. For as much as
he is the main protagonist.
He has been, and he's been, while a lot of other guys have just given you good matches and never give you any character, he's given some great matches. I mean, some legendary matches in AEW, along with a character arc that, outside of the time where he was the champion and he was kind of booked as like blah, he was wasn't the main thing on the show for a lot of times, and we criticized that. Now he's back front and center in this fallen hero role, and even the attention to detail, like you said, Corey, him coming out the face tunnel and Jeff Jarrett being turned around. That's such a small detail that it rewards fans' attention. And it makes you feel, it's a little details like that make the story. So I think right now he's doing phenomenal work, and kudos to everybody that's involved in this story, because it's quickly become the best thing. That and one Miss Mariah May, which we will talk about. Those are the two best things going on in AEW right now. But
there's a but. And we can just segue into that second note.
Page versus Danielson.
Who came out of that ahead? You have a story that would be absolutely perfect for your biggest show of the year, and you went a different direction. It would be like, I don't know, WrestleMania trying to give us The Rock versus Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns at this WrestleMania.
That's a little different, because that's the biggest show of the year for Mania. You're talking about Dynamite.
No. I am talking about Wembley, all in.
Oh, okay.
Daniel Bryan is now against Swerve at Wembley.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I could see it. But then also the inner wrestling fan in me is like, yeah, but it's going to be sweet to see Bryan Danielson versus Swerve at Wembley. And
I hope he wins the belt. I hope Hangman Page costs him the belt.
I think that's the best course of action. Like, as much as Bryan Danielson has said he doesn't want the belt, that belt needs him.
I saw something that said all that was a work.
Well, kudos to that then.
Are you talking about him lying about the belt?
Yeah.
Well, did you also see the headline? I've seen it a couple times this week. It's like, I learned how to lie from Cody. He's the best in the business. He's like, lying is fun.
Yep. Cody taught him that.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it.
But to me, that you have this big ass story that's beautiful, and they undercut that so hard with that ending of that match. Great match.
Sure.
Well, they'll be in each other's orbit, because Swerve has announced he's going to lead Team AEW. And you have to think that Hangman, when he went to the Bucks and said, I'm in, means that he's going to be the guy at Blood and Guts.
Sure. Yeah.
Are we trying?
Do what?
Are we going to try for that one?
You talking about go up there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Man, that's Nashville.
2 weeks? 3 weeks?
I think it's the end of the month.
Or something like that.
Yeah. It's the end of August.
We'll have to check ticket prices.
No, it's not. I think you're right. I think it is a couple weeks. Because Wembley is the end of August.
I want to say it's like...
We'll need to see the ticket prices. I need to see my air conditioning might have just went out at the house. So
damn, son, you can't catch a break on that house.
Bro,
I thought you just got an air conditioner.
I had $1,000 repair to the air conditioner.
No, he had insulation.
Oh yes, and I have a new roof.
Yeah.
I mean, just a little quick side tangent. I've spent $20,000 on a house in the past 3 months just making repairs. So, I might have to start an OnlyFans pretty soon if this podcast doesn't take off. I'll sell some feet pics or do whatever I have to do.
My only other complaint with this match is you got Brian busting his head open, which is fine, unless you have something coming up later in the show.
Oh yeah,
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree with that. That's a fair point.
So the next note, we get Samoa Joe got a lift to the set of Twisted Metal season 2. I didn't know at first. I was like, why did they do that? And then I was like, okay. I was on Twitter a few minutes later, and they're like, yeah, he's fixing to go film season 2 of that show, so they had to write his ass off.
So with Samoa Joe out, I mean, this was a mediocre feud to begin with.
Sure.
With Samoa Joe no longer part of it, who was carrying a lot of it.
Why did they start this now if they knew he was going to leave?
It's almost like they don't know how to run a show.
These things don't sneak up. Productions don't sneak up on people. They have these dates locked. Why did we start the thing with Hook now? If in 3 weeks he just got to go off TV.
Yeah, they should have been done that. You know me, I don't want to spend too much time talking about Chris Jericho on our podcast, so I'm good if we move on. maybe that's all we needed out of that one. And that'll give us more time to spend on Mariah May versus Willow and then what happens afterward.
Let's hear it, Pat.
This was beautiful. This is what I've been waiting for, and I watched it with a smile on my face. First of all,
did you know it was coming already? Like, did you seen it on social?
No, but I knew if she was gonna, when they announced the winner of the Owen Hart gets a chance at Wembley and she's in it, and Toni Storm said in character she's the one that helped put her in the tournament. I was like, oh, this is going to be the turn. This is what they've been waiting for. The sneaky thing that we've talked about Mariah May is that, yes, she looks amazing and has sort of like a glamour Barbie doll character. But if you actually watch her in the ring, she's kind of vicious. Like the strikes land, she's pretty stiff. That comes from her time over in Japan. I thought the match was good. She gets the win. And then the turn, which I thought was bloody, it was brutal, and yeah, beautiful. The 3 Bs, that the shoe to the head looked incredibly vicious. Like she was legit trying to injure her. I love that she put her hands on Luther. I love the commentary team. They weren't surprised. They immediately were like, oh, she's been playing her this whole time. This has all been a ruse. And Toni whipping her, like getting her head whipped back, and then the final shot of her just holding her head, just bloody crimson mass from Toni Storm, and over stands Mariah May. I mean, that's a way to go out.
And like I said, to me, if you knew this was coming, you knew she was going to do what she did. I'm not a big fan of the blood licking thing. I don't know why AEW loves the hepatitis B moments, but they do.
Hey, everybody's got their thing, you know.
But if you were going to do this big angle, this is your show. This is your main event. This is the big payoff to something. I don't think you needed to have it duplicated earlier in the show.
Yeah,
you're probably right.
I would agree with that. Leave the blood for the very end. But I don't think a lot of these producers actually talk to each other backstage. So I don't think
100%.
The left hand knows what the right hand's doing. So that's probably why these things happen.
We get a bunch of stuff on Collision as well.
Yeah, we can get on into that if you want.
But this to me, I mean, we had Toni Storm doing Sunset Strip. We've now moved in. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'm like, I know I'm going to screw that up, and I was like, it was Avenue, and then in my head, nope, let's go Strip.
We knew what you meant.
But then we've moved now into All About Eve. And, you know, I love that they are, I'm like I said, I don't think this has elevated the title that she's carrying. But I at least can respect the fact that they are sticking to the golden age of Hollywood nostalgia that she brings by mirroring movies that they go along with.
So do we think that they put the strap on Mariah at Wembley?
Yes. You have to make another star in that division somehow, and that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
But the problem is she might not get booed at Wembley because that's also her backyard. So
yeah. Like she'll get new music and all that in the next week or two, I would assume. Different gear.
Yeah, because she can't rate Tony's closet anymore.
Hopefully they've got Def Rebel to do some new music for her.
God, let's hope not.
Lord. All right, well, let's get into Collision. We had some issues with the note here says Juice can't be the third Trios member with Jay out, which we all knew was going to happen.
Here's the thing, though. They've done it before. We just had a stupid-ass pay-per-view within the last year where MJF might not make it. So let's put a guy that can't even wrestle because he has a broken leg to defend his title by proxy. They have done this on multiple occasions. So if we ignore this rule, that this past precedence within their universe.
So you don't think it's better that they're trying to fix things as opposed to...
Okay, but hold on. Let's work through the logic of how they fix this. Christopher Daniels walks down. Bang Bang Gang has been saying, we are the champions. I'm stepping in. Freebird rule. Juice is out in for Jay. Christopher Daniels walks down. No, that can't happen. We're not allowing that. Patriarchy comes down, says, give me the belt. No, we're not going to have that happen. We are going to have the Bang Bang Gang with Juice defend the title versus the Patriarchy, and whoever wins gets the belt. So why even saying that we're not going to allow Juice to step in and do the Freebird rule when you are going to give him the first title shot where the winner gets the belt? That is a title defense. You can call it whatever the hell you want to. That's a title defense.
No, they're just saying they're first in line. They get the shot. The
Patriarchy is the first in line. Juice and Bang Bang Gang are defending that belt. You can call it whatever. That's bullshit.
1 and 2. It's still 1 and 2.
That's stupid as hell.
You mad?
I just don't like... don't say something stupid and then try to make me think, well, why the hell am I the one that's taking crazy pills over here?
Steven got his red up. You can see it in his face.
I mean, at least they got Christopher Daniels trying to act something like an authority figure. And at least they didn't decide they're just going to open it up to a tournament. So, we'll take the positives.
We could be watching 5 weeks of this shit.
Yeah. We'll take some positives where we can get it.
Just stupid.
You can't even give them a little credit for trying to fix it.
Because all he had to do was, you want to claim that? That's fine. Here's your first challenger. Bam. Done.
You're just mad at the wording.
Well, yeah, because I'm taking this away from you, but you have a chance to walk away with this, even though that you have it already. I mean, they're defending the belt. Just acknowledge they're defending the belt.
Okay, cool. They're defending the belt. That's coming from me and my authority on this. So your next note about Sky Blue isn't spooky now.
No, she's a cowgirl.
It's like they're changing up her look. They're like, this ain't working.
And you can only be in an emo phase for so long. The emo phase has this very short shelf life before you go into Nashville, Broadway, drunk on your ass, 1 o'clock look. The Hawk 2 look, if you will. That's what Sky Blue has turned herself into.
Well, here's my issue with this particular one, besides the fact that we have to ignore that, a change has happened and nobody knows what that change is or why that change has come. Other than the fact that the person that change is based around is now injured and won't be back for a little bit. Collision and Dynamite were both recorded the same night, same place. Chris Jericho comes out in a cowboy hat, calling back to the old Bret Hart stuff about don't wear a cowboy hat in Canada unless you're a real cowboy. Within 2 hours, Sky Blue comes out in a cowboy hat, facing off against whatever outcast it was, with Saraya standing on the sideline wearing the cowboy hat. This goes back to the fact that nobody in back there production-wise, no producers are talking to anybody else to kind of talk about what's going on with these things. It's just everybody's doing what they want to. So you get repeats of everything.
Yeah, people like cowboy hats too. I don't look good in one, but some people do.
I do not.
My face is not suited for a cowboy hat.
I got a big old round head.
But yeah, I don't disagree with that. It's just funny that she's got to change the look, and everybody's like, yeah. It's like, wasn't she possessed like 4 weeks ago?
Yep. Demon took a holiday down to Texas. Got a 10-gallon.
And listen, that happens to some people, you know. Some people find the Lord and they get into a cowboy hat.
So I think that's probably it for the world of AEW this week. Kind of blowing through some things. I kind of reveled in the fact that I wasn't going to take notes once I got into Dynamite last week and was enjoying it. I was like, I don't think I'm going to take notes. I'm just going to like enjoy wrestling and not worry about what I write down or type out for it. So that kind of is going to bite us in the ass a little bit here, because your first note, Steven, just says, I know I watched it.
Yeah, Smackdown. I know I watched that. But this was the most, and I went back and looked to see refresh my memory. But up until I looked, I couldn't tell you what happened on that show outside of what happened at the end. I'm
scrolling through a rundown right now, and there's
had Nia Jax
Michin
versus Michin. That comes after Tiffany Stratton comes out and talks about how she's the Miss Money in the Bank celebrating. Bayley says whatever. Nia Jax says she's going to be the next champion. Bayley tries to start some crap with Nia Jax and Tiffany about how Tiffany's going to cash in on Nia or whatever. And we almost get a Tiffany cash in, but Nia glares her down.
Mm.
You had the DIY and full Boston Dunk Kings regalia walking around with a rematch, which was an okay rematch, but, you know, it wasn't as good as the first one.
The only other note here just says Bloodline murdered Orton and talked shit on Roman.
So Solo comes out. Talks about how the only people in Solo in the Bloodline are people that acknowledge him. So that's why Jay's gone. That's why Paul's gone. And then he talks shit on Roman. He flat out says, Roman, you're not worth a damn. I'm in charge now.
We'll see.
Which is a powerful statement to make. And that crowd ate it up.
We'll see who mean it.
I mean, listen, when Roman comes back, the roof is
SummerSlam, right?
Yeah, I think so. The roof is going to blow off that place. And well, I guess it won't at SummerSlam because they'll be in a football stadium. So
they would build a roof so it can be blown off.
Exactly. The canopy over the ring will blow off. I mean, this is the only thing that SmackDown has going, right? We just talked about the lackluster rest of the show, but if you insert Roman Reigns and this bloodline, their segments, at least on SmackDown, become can't miss television again.
Sure, yeah. I mean, last week, 2 weeks ago, Heyman gets thrown through a table to end the show. Quality shit.
Yep.
Obviously, they wrote him out for a week or two. He wasn't there last week.
And I talked shit when AEW did it. So I am an equal opportunity shit talker here. You can't send some of your biggest stars to another promotion and then, expect to fill 2 hours of time. I get that AJ Styles is in Japan, but he helps carry the show.
Listen, this is the new world of wrestling. Everybody, there's forbidden doors everywhere. Or I guess they're just open doors. They're not really forbidden that much.
Prohibited portals.
There you go.
Prohibited portals. Let me type that out. Joe Henry's been on fucking NXT like every night for a month, right?
And racking in the ratings over there.
People believe in Joe Hendry.
I mean, they have sold out Slamboree for the first time in ages.
Say his name, and he appears.
But the only other thing that came out of this was we get LA Knight in the ring talking about how he's got an open contract, but Logan Paul ain't there to sign it.
Oh, and he's prior commitments, in quotation marks. If you know, you know. Motherfucker ain't allowed in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. You sort of wish, if this was AEW, they would have made a joke about that, I feel like. But since it's WWE and Logan Paul, they can't make that joke. But somebody should have had that. And this security probably would have taken it away. But somebody should have had that meme of Logan Paul on a sign, sitting right across from the hard cam, and at least flash.
There's still time.
Well, they probably would have edited.
There's still time.
They probably would have edited it out. But going back to just Roman real quick, obviously it's Cody and Solo at SummerSlam. We think Roman will come back, right? Like, there's not a scenario where Solo ends up winning the belt, right?
No, I think there's going to be a lot of beatdowns of people such as Roman and them, in the next couple of months. You got to let the bloodline get their W's in there for a little while and make them look unbeatable.
So let's say that Roman comes back at SummerSlam. We got to get through Roman and Solo. At some point, we got to do Roman and The Rock because that's a WrestleMania main event next year.
Sure.
Right? You'd have to think. So where does that leave Cody Rhodes? Who will be his challenger? Obviously, he's got to wrap up something with The Rock. But I think that might happen before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a Netflix.
You think they wait that long? Well, January, I guess January, right? Yeah. So it's not that long. That's pre WrestleMania. So if just big picture here, kind of in the future, who do you guys think will be challenging for the Universal title? What I'm assuming would be night 2 of WrestleMania. Who has the star power? Or who can they build here to go up against Cody?
Gunther?
John Cena.
Well, that was my question. Are we going to do John Cena versus Cody Rhodes? And should we...
I wouldn't be mad at that.
Should we give it to John Cena to let him break Flair's record so that we don't have to bring up Ric Flair?
I mean, I wouldn't be fucking mad at it. Did y'all? Well, we can get into that later.
Yes, I want to get into that later.
but there's a strategic reason why they had John Cena come out and say, "I have one more year," and that goes post WrestleMania. Like it's a
he goes all the way to the year.
Yeah.
Y'all familiar with Tribe Called Quest? We on a award tour.
Yeah.
Cena's finna to be on a award tour, I think, right?
He's got 40 appearances next year, they say.
Get them accolades.
I mean, I would have to think, Rock, Roman, Cody, Cena are the two main
I would not be mad at that.
That's a good bit. That's a good 1-2 punch for 2 nights. So let's get into Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Mami. Kind of figured she would start off, right?
Yep.
There's a bit of a back and forth between she and Liv. Dom gets a little pouty face, walks back to the back. My favorite part, I think, was when she opened the door and threw the fucking vase out the door at him.
See, you that is a great spot, but you being fresh to this stuff, it hits different when you've seen this before. Because this is a direct homage from the way Dominic looks to the way Rhea looks to with him calling her Mamacita to Eddie Guerrero in China back in the day. Yeah. And this was almost a shot-for-shot remake, and it was beautiful.
Wrestling has been going on for so long on cable television that they're now at the point where they can start referencing themselves. Which is kind of a cool place for wrestling to be, because now you have so many callbacks for people. So yes, that was a nice little compact. I don't want to. How should I put this? Dominic is great, but is all this kind of being? I don't want to say wasted on Dominic, but like, do we believe Dominic can turn into an Eddie Guerrero type of wrestler where he moves all the way up to the top of the card? And if he doesn't become that in 3, 4, 5 years, could this spot that Dominic is in be better suited to somebody else? And I'm kind of just asking, putting this out here for just debate because I don't know what the answer to this is.
Who would you want to see in that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is there anybody else that could even pull off what he's doing right now? But I guess what I'm asking is, Dominic has so much screen time that if this doesn't lead at some point to him being one of the top stars in WWE, could you have used the star power that is Rhea Ripley? Could it have been used better on somebody else if there even is somebody else?
They are using that star power on somebody else. Liv Morgan. This Dominic is a secondary target in this. This is elevating the women's title. This is elevating Liv Morgan up to be a legitimate contender in the thing. I think this is they built this entire episode around two women that are holding their own. They are doing an incredible job in carrying the story and making us, have a legitimate beef into what's going on and rooting for, who was once the biggest villain in this group and who was once they have done that complete double turn on both of these characters and they are carrying each other. And it's great.
So my question is, do they go ahead and put the belt back on Rhea?
No.
At SummerSlam? You don't think they do it that quickly?
No.
No, because Dom has to actually cost her something. He has to fully commit. He's not committed yet to Liv Morgan. So the full commitment I think comes at SummerSlam. Because obviously they're trending towards Rhea being a fully established babyface, and now Damien Priest with his friendship with Jey Uso that they're trying him being split away from Judgment Day as well. It seems like.
Yeah. And Jay's just trying to take Rhea to the Waffle House.
Listen, man.
Did I send that to y'all?
I said, yeah. Listen, I don't know if listeners know. Your boy loves Waffle House. Okay, I'm 34 years old. At least 8 of my birthday dinners have taken place at Waffle House.
You wrote a whole ass essay on it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, dude, it's a religious experience going to Waffle House in the South. I mean, where
just
else?
Go to the alabamatake.com and look up Patrick Akers.
Yeah, it's on that. Where else can you get smothered and covered hash browns and have about a 33% chance to see someone get stabbed in a parking lot? That doesn't happen at Texas Roadhouse. Texas Roadhouse is great, but sometimes
somebody
you guys
fall out of the roof.
Oh, dude, yeah. In the hometown,
this episode brought to you.
Said he was trying to rob the Waffle House, and he took all his clothes off and got butt ass naked and fell through the ceiling. And that's Waffle House. Roll Tide.
This episode brought to you by Waffle House.
I'll take it. Well, yeah, y'all got anything else on her? Because the next note is Priest is a douche, according to Steven.
Full on a douche. He has this organization that he is, per Rhea Ripley, has been helping carrying along. When she was gone, he took up the mantle, glad he could keep it on track, and he has done nothing but undercut and shit on his friend, the Dominic, give him purposely bad advice just to fuck with this kid. He is a gigantic douche.
He's the bad guy. Damien Priest is the bad guy. Gunther is the true babyface. I'll agree with you.
Okay. And Drew, there are 3 good guys that are listed as bad guys internally on this episode. Dominic is a good guy. Drew McIntyre is a good guy. And yes, Gunther's a good guy.
I do love, not to get political on this podcast, okay, because we're 3 dumbasses is not it. But the slight little Gunther has gone from this ring general to like this quasi right-wing Republican Fox News kind of guy it's a pretty good turn of a character. When he said like people on the street are there because they deserve it, their own choices, I was like, damn, that kind of hits. That kind of hits for me. I kind of like it.
It was hard when and that's another example of Priest is a douche. Dude just told him that you being the choices that you made in your life are so bad that your parents disowned you to the point where you said, I'd rather be homeless. Said that to his motherfucking face.
Cold.
And Priest did jack all because he is a douche and knows he can't do shit other than pick on the teenager. Because he's 20, 22?
Yeah.
He's taking advantage of this poor kid that is looking to him for mentorship and guidance because he's getting schooled by everybody else because he's a gigantic douche.
If Gunther comes out next week or in the following weeks and says something along the lines of facts don't care about your feelings, I'm going to lose my shit while I'm watching it. And I think that's the pitch perfect character for Gunther. And listen, we all loved Imperium as the group, but it's the Gunther show now. There's one guy that they are. Obviously, he got a video package a couple weeks ago. They're like, hey, if you just started watching, if you're one of the crazy people that just started watching Monday Night Raw, like, here's who Gunther is, here's why he matters. Hint, hint, here's why he's going to win the title at SummerSlam. And yeah, I thought, like I've said on this podcast, there is nothing that I find entertaining about Damien Priest other than when he's getting dressed down by Gunther.
I did love when he got told last night that, like, he's done nothing for the title. He's like, you haven't done anything to elevate that title. You brought no prestige to the title. I was like,
and there's nothing Damien
tell him
Priest
when he's
can
lying,
say.
right?
Yeah. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
And you were disagreeing with me earlier when I said that Drew was a good guy. He just wants he is spitting truth as well. And as you're saying, the best villains are the ones telling the truth. He is being shit on by Adam Pearce. He's being shit on by CM Punk, the referees, and Adam Pearce drags his ass out there to publicly humiliate him by making him apologize to the referees that came out there and touched him. Number one, cost him matches. Number two, he is not the bad guy in this. He has been embarrassed because of how Adam Pearce has let this other dude not, get away with everything while humiliating this other dude. It's the Swerve Strickland moment.
That's the thing that is kind of crazy is that CM Punk has continually screwed over Drew McIntyre and yet continues to be rewarded. You even had the little thing, 2 weeks ago, where Adam Pearce and CM Punk were in the office and he was like, hey, I know. Adam Pearce was like, we're close. I just need you to kind of stay home. Let me handle this. It's like, why are we buddy? You're the authority figure, and this dude has constantly inserted himself in title matches and turned the tide.
Known shit stirrer, CM Punk.
Yeah. So,
and don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying it.
Oh yeah, it's making.
Just making for good TV.
It's definitely making for good TV, but in terms of like you said, character motivation, Drew McIntyre has every right to be pissed off.
And obviously, Adam Pearce is a bad guy too.
Well, yeah, Adam Pearce has quickly devolved into what is even your job, because your show, folks, is just out here running wild. Everybody's just doing whatever they want.
They wouldn't dare on Nick Aldis' show.
Yeah. Although Nick Aldis,
I don't know that ass.
People get murdered on his show, so.
True.
But think about
he just looks the other way.
On Adam Pearce's show, we've had the attempted murder of Chad Gable. We have had Drew McIntyre and CM Punk just running roughshod, fucking up title matches, whatnot. We've had the Wyatt Six. While they attempted to murder somebody, they continually just keep breaking into the arena somehow, magically. The Bo Dallas, they're doing an investigation. This motherfucker's just in his office.
In his office.
So like,
So let's get into that next. You alluded to it early in the show about Chad Gable finally figured out that Uncle Howdy is Bo Dallas.
Shocking to me.
And the Creeds finally join up with him last night. I have a bone to pick.
You and me both.
Well, it's a different one, I'm sure. Mine is production. While I enjoy the ode to VHS tapes as a guy who grew up making stupid like skits and things on VHS tapes with his friends in high school and when we started college, because we're old and that's what you used back then. I love the look, but somehow they managed to get these shitty looking VHS tapes with pristine audio. That ain't how that works. I got news for you. Those videos should not sound that good. And I get it. It's a TV thing. We're supposed to suspend some disbelief. But if you're going to go through that much to make the video look shitty and make it look like it's VHS, you got to make it sound shitty too.
I hard disagree on this. As a guy who watches wrestling with closed captions on to understand half the stuff they're saying, I am perfectly happy with it looking shitty and sounding better than it is.
It's just a thing that hit me last night. I was like, I don't like this. As a production guy, I had to call it out.
What's the tiebreaker vote?
I just want to know where they got their hands on a VHS camera to shoot these things. In kayfabe, right? Where does
eBay?
I don't even know where you would find eBay. And then the listener's like, "What are you going to use this for?" It's like, "Well, we're going to terrorize a multi-billion-dollar company for a couple weeks." Oh, okay, cool.
And we're going to make production dig a VHS tape out of the warehouse somewhere.
Half price on it.
No, you know damn well they didn't have one on the truck.
0% chance that there was one on the truck.
I liked this video they showed. To me, this is the most personality Eric Rowan has had pretty much ever.
I was happy to see somebody besides Bo Dallas. I was hoping that they would give us little glimpses into some of the other characters as well.
And they mentioned the people without mentioning the people. I mean, dude lost his brother, then lost his brother. I feel for him. He's going to make art out of that broken heart.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I mean, it's a compelling group, and finally, for the first time this week, we got something in the ring. And
this is where I had my beef.
Okay, tell me your beef before, because I might agree with you or I might disagree.
You have heard me come on this show repeatedly talking about how excited I was going to be when the Creeds and Gable got together. It's an amazing thing. We had all this build up. And then it feels like you either shot your shot too late or too early. With the reveal of them coming out there to jump Bo.
I agree. I think it's way too early because they're going to have to lose.
Yep.
And
it's got to be the 6 that go over.
It has to be. You can't have the spooky group lose to the wrestlers the first time they get out there. That's not how that works. So, yeah, I agree. I think it is too early. That being said, the execution of them beating Bo Dallas and then him maniacally laughing, giving the yeah, and then just the words, "There you are," I thought was
yeah.
Any kind of like hesitation I had that maybe Bo Dallas can't pull this off, I think I got answered Monday night. And I don't think he's going to be Bray, because I think Bray's one of one. No. But I think he is going to be able to do his version of that. I think he's going to do it well. And I think it is cool. I've talked about this all the time on the podcast. It's cool to see guys in real time elevate to sort of another level. We see it in the NBA, NFL all the time. Guys take the next step forward. I think that was such occasion Monday night with Bo Dallas. Because much like with his brother, nothing he's going to do is going to be about the matches. The matches are just going to happen. But it's going to be these moments like what happened on Monday night with his character work that is going to keep him compelling. Now, that being said, I don't know what the height of this faction is. I don't know if it's Bo Dallas or as Uncle Howdy ascends and wins a championship in 18 months. A heavyweight championship, like it's got to be one of the main ones. I don't know if he has that in him, but it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, you're not pulling all this shit off to go for the Intercontinental title.
No, but also, like, I guess giving it to a guy like Gunther, like, could Gunther eat a loss to a babyface White Six group in 18 months? I think so, on Monday Night Raw, right? Because that's not the real title of WWE. Cody Rhodes is the guy that has the real title. This one kind of gets passed around, and it kind of doesn't mean something at sometimes, a la Damien Priest having the title right now. Doesn't mean a damn thing. The most interesting thing is happening all around him. So I could see a group like that having it, but like, I just don't know what the ceiling is with this group. As cool as they are.
Yeah.
Well, he is a former NXT champion. That was his I would say his most prestigious win.
Yeah, that's the only time he was actually presented as any kind of real threat.
He might have had a tag team run. Did him and Curtis Axel get a tag team run?
I don't think so, but there might, the tag team title gets passed around sometimes where it's like, they had it for 2 weeks and then they get beat.
So I've got a note on the last note also, which is we had the Intercontinental match. Is it Intercontinental in WWE? I get them all mixed up.
Yeah.
Sammy versus Ilja Dragunov. I thought, this will be a fun way to end the show. Obviously, you get an interruption by Braun Breaker. And Steven and I were talking this before you logged on, Patrick. Production, I need production in the truck to step up. Get a little bit quicker with that trigger finger. Because they always get Braun running around the ring. That's a great shot, right? And then they cut to the camera on the side of the ring where the victim is. And he's already got his shoulder in their stomach. We need you to hit that other camera button real quick before they get up in his stomach.
That is the problem with trying to keep up with a man who's running 23 miles an hour.
No,
cameraman can't run that fast. He's faster than the director's finger.
No, that's some bullshit.
Listen,
as somebody that has directed sports events, you got to be on the ready.
Braun Breaker was on a podcast recently, and they read back to him his NFL scouting report. And he obviously the report was like, dude's a freak athlete, but yada yada yada, doesn't have the instincts to play at the next level. Kind of blah, blah, blah. Braun ended up running a 4.5 at the NFL Combine, and this man Braun said, "Yeah, that was really a low point for me. I kind of didn't peak properly." He's like, "I've ran in the low 4.3s." Bullshit. No, you did not.
You ain't running like CJ2K.
You did not run in the low. And if that's the case, I want to see it. If that's the case, I want to see a 40-yard dash on Monday Night Raw with a legit, like, I want somebody to time it where I would believe it. And if that son of a bitch runs a 4.32, you should just put the title on him immediately. And he should never lose. He should be the champion for the rest of time. I'm going to call horseshit on that, but I appreciate the fact that he is trying to. Yeah, it's wrestling. You got to sell it.
Champion infinitum.
Infinitum. He's 240 pounds, runs a 4.3. Nobody can beat him.
Crown him the king.
So I just thought that was funny, but yes, obviously, again, Braun does cool things, but he looks straight up out of the mid 2000s, and I will never get over it until they fix it.
Hey, they took the stupid Madder Than Evil or whatever the fucking, what was the thing that was on the back of his pants?
Yeah, I think it was Madder Than Evil.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was. They took that
evil,
off.
One of those two.
Yeah, whatever. They took that off his pants. Unless they were on him last night and I just wasn't paying attention.
They messed with his music some. They took away half of his shitty music and gave it to Sheamus.
Poor Sheamus.
Do y'all remember the Vaporwave cups from like the mid 90s? You know what I'm talking about? The white and the green. Yeah, you do. If you saw a picture of it, if you got your computer right now, Google Vaporwave cups. You know exactly what I'm talking about out there. They need to give Braun a singlet like that. As soon as you guys see it, you're going to be like, oh, yeah. Every birthday party I went to in the 90s had these styrofoam cups, these Vaporwaves. You're laughing because you know exactly what I'm talking about.
This is 1980s shit, baby.
Yeah. So that's it, 80s to the 90s. That man needs a singlet coated like that, and he'd be my favorite wrestler right now if he did that, if they fully embraced that.
He needs to go raid RVD's wardrobe, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I just look at the dude and I'm like, a 1980s gimmick would just fit him. It just would fit.
Yeah, dude.
And it would be, you could have a Van Halen-esque guitar as his entrance music, and I would be on board completely.
I'm in. Just fucking get the rights to Mean Street. Let's go. I'm in.
So, but instead, it's just like I don't know. It feels just very Puddle of Mud. I don't even know if that reference makes sense, but it's just like, would you rather listen to Van Halen or Puddle of Mud? It's like Puddle of Mud's cool for like 6 minutes, and then it's not.
No.
Puddle of Mud's got one banger. Come on now.
No.
She fucking hates me. It's a good song.
Control.
If you're inebriated enough, that's a good song.
I think that gets a big negative for me.
I know some Puddle of Mud songs. I ain't going to complain about it.
Oh, you know all the Puddle of Mud songs. It's like Creed. When you just hear it, you just know. Well, you hear it once and it gets implanted into your brain.
Did you see the Otis video today?
With him dancing to Creed?
Yeah, it's just like super slow motion.
Can you take him higher?
Bro, I was at the beach flipping TikToks, and it's just super quiet. And after I watched this TikTok, I just bust out laughing, and like 4 people looked at me like, what the fuck is this dude's problem? It was a high angle shot, and I'm talking about almost like a damn drone. And it had to be like a beach on the Atlantic Ocean because it was like dark sand. And it was just the Creed song, Higher. And it's this rather large man, and he's just staring. And then he immediately takes off running, and the song's like, so let's go there. And as it hits the higher, he just jumps into the water. I'm talking about he dead sprint for 55 yards at least while this song's going on. And it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I should have sent it to you guys, but completely forgot about it. I'll come back across it and I'll send it to you. The Creed song, Higher, goes with anything.
Never liked him, but that shit is funny.
We had something else we wanted to talk here, Corey. And I want to say thank you to Tony Khan. And you are hearing these words from me correctly. Thank you, Tony Khan, that you made the smartest decision I have ever thought you could make. And I am proud of you. Thank you.
Oh, Lord, what is it?
Ric Flair saying, I was going to turn bad guy on Sting. I pitched it, and then they stopped calling me. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Yeah, nobody needed that, Rick. You got lucky that they threw you a bone and let you be on TV, and we had to watch you throw a punch at the Young Bucks.
Attempt to throw a punch.
Attempt to throw a punch, yeah. I mean, respect for your career and all, but let's ride off into the sunset on that one, dog.
Every moment that you continue to try to do what you used to do makes a new generation see you as not what you used to be, man. Just please don't.
What makes it worse is that he had the absolute perfect send-off with Shawn Michaels.
I'm sorry. I love you.
A gorgeous moment. He could have walked into the sunset in WrestleMania. That was 20 years ago at this point. And if he would have stayed out, maybe done a podcast once every blue moon where he talked about, that cage match with Harley Race, blah, blah. We would have such fond memories of Ric Flair and think of him in a completely different light. Instead, he
lives the gimmick.
He is, and that's what people have always said about Ric Flair, is that it is to his bones. That is who he is, the style and profiling. He cannot quit. It is sad.
And he needs that money.
And he needs the money. But it's sad to see a guy. Because, I mean, let's be real, Healy. He is one of the most influential wrestlers of all time. I mean.
Yeah, we're not taking anything away from any of that, except he's doing it a little bit by chipping away at it like this.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think what Steven said is perfect. It's making a new generation of fans see him differently than what he should actually be remembered as. So I do one more thing too, and I saw this right before we came on, so I didn't send it to you guys. Cody Rhodes, I guess, recently just did another podcast with is it Chris Van
Vliet?
Van Fleet, yeah. Where Chris said, it was a TikTok I saw, and Chris was like, "You never said anything bad about AEW," and they went back and forth. But Cody said something interesting, I thought, where he said, "Listen, at some point, people are going to write tell-all books about it, and it's all going to be out there. But I want to think of it in a different light." And I'm like, okay, so there's something that somebody's going to talk about one day. Yeah. And I just wish at this point I knew what it was, but it's going to be fascinating when it finally all comes out.
Yeah, I don't know.
They kicked his dog just like they beat up on Larry.
I mean, at this point, it can't just be wrestling. I don't think.
Something else happened.
It has to be something else where he felt a certain type of way. And kudos to him for like doing the spin of like, but I always wanted to come back to WWE and win the belt. It's like, nah, if you would have got your way, I think he would have been more than happy. One of two things would have happened. He's good with being the WWE champion, but I think he also would have been good being the guy that doesn't put WWE out of business, but makes WWE second place. He would have been good being that guy too.
Yeah, I saw that, and he was talking about how people have, like, the Young Bucks said that he was the last to sign on to AEW, and he's like, well, I mean, I was technically the last, but I was just the last to get to the paperwork or whatever, and physically do it. He was like, it wasn't that I waited till the end to be like, yeah, I'm in. He's like, I was in, I just didn't do the paperwork.
And I don't think his problem is with Kenny, because CM Punk's problem wasn't with Kenny. I think the culprits might be the trio of one Matt and Nick, and then Tony Khan in the mix as well. I think.
I want to go back to that article you were talking about here, Corey, where he said, like, talking about being the last one to sign. I was my reading comprehension on that wasn't that good. Was he saying that he was the one that introduced everybody then? That vetted Tony Khan to the group?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't think that was in this interview, because this was a podcast interview.
He made it seem like it was a group, like it was all a group thing. Like this was a collective of all of us getting together, because Kenny, as far as I know, didn't put any money into the first All In show at all. It was strictly Cody and the Bucks. And so I think Cody was being like, okay, yeah, what Corey said. It's like, yeah, I was the last one to sign, but that was just because, like, a technicality, right? Like, we were all on board together.
I was busy passing out checks while they were signing papers.
Yeah, like I was, but he mentioned something too in the podcast where he talked about I was a leader. Like, I was good with leading the young people. So I think I don't know. At this point, it has to be something more than just wrestling or like the creative control, or like I wanted to do something and they didn't let me do it. We have to be getting down to like deep-seated personal issues that maybe it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm still cool with those guys, but like we're not what we used to be.
Yeah. I mean, he said it, like, he's cool with, like, and he gives them shout outs and little nods to them, but I don't know that, like you said, it'll ever be what it once was. And there's something happened, something along the way. Well, and he ain't going to be the one to say it, I don't think.
This puts it in a slightly different light. Is he giving shout outs to him, or is he mocking him now? Like, doing a subtle mock of, look at what's going on here, where I'm at versus where you're at.
I don't think so, because he had a lot of reverence for him in the documentary on WWE. I could be reading that wrong. I don't know. Maybe he'll get drunk and start calling people from his bunk like he did Undertaker Did you see that one going around today? Talking about him the night of Mania. He got drunk and started calling folks like Taker and them and just thanking them and stuff like that.
I didn't see that, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then obviously he and Ooch showed up to the press conference pretty hammered last year.
Yeah.
Cody, I think, probably likes to party a little.
I mean, he is the spokesperson for American Wheatley Vodka, so I'm sure there's a lot of that free stuff on that bus.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Wheatley Vodka. Wheatley, so good I drink it neatly. I saw, speaking of Milms, I saw, based on the sign and first one, The Rock made a comeback, and I'm actually the one that signed first on that paper with Tony.
Bro, that's my favorite thing. The post Independence Day ones with The Rock were the funniest ones. And that's what I told John Hancock, sign it big. I was like, this is hilarious. This is the best thing.
Some gold came out of that for sure. I still haven't watched it. Did y'all watch that yet?
Nah.
I mean, if you like Rock propaganda, yeah. I mean, it's pretty much the Rock and Triple H show. I was disappointed that there wasn't a lot of Cody Rhodes and Roman has like basically 2 scenes where he's like walking on a treadmill talking, and then they like got him and interviewed him like looks like on his tour on his bus. And Seth Rollins has one here or there where he's just like, this is the craziest build WrestleMania I've ever been a part of. And then that's kind of it.
Thank you for that enlightenment.
Yeah, well, I think they probably had more, but it was probably, I think one Mr. Dwayne Johnson saw a cut and was like, actually, we're going to change this stuff.
Why it kept getting pushed back further and further?
It kept getting pushed back. And we've not talked about the documentary on the podcast yet, have we? Mm-mm. If you watch it, I want you to pay attention to the change in audio quality, because you can clearly hear a difference from The Rock's sit-down interview audio to some re-recorded audio that I think he came into a booth and read some things that were written for him, and the juxtaposition of those two things. They clearly did some finessing of some facts afterwards.
I'll put it on. Yeah.
Surely not.
I'll put it on my watch list, but I'm going to watch the WWE biography Legends Miz first.
That'll probably be better, honestly.
Yeah. Well, do y'all got anything else before we wrap up for the evening? I got a Star Wars I need to get in there and try to watch.
Nope.
The last episode of The Acolyte.
I am good.
Well, I won't see any wrestling this weekend. I'll be in a cabin in the woods on Friday night and Saturday night.
Hope it ends differently for you.
Yeah, I'll be having some fun. We'll just say that over the weekend.
He's going to be drunk calling everybody, Undertaker, everybody.
I mean, I don't know if I'll be calling people, but I'll be drunk. I'll say that much.
We'll get a text.
We're going to record some Star Wars podcasts. Yeah, y'all probably get some texts. I mean, I might put the TV on at some point, but we're going to watch Star Wars all weekend and drunk record some Star Wars episodes for our Star Wars podcast. So, y'all, listen to We Are a Star War if y'all don't already. Any wrap ups did you got for me guys? Are we good?
Nope. I'm down here in Dallas. I'll give you guys a full report of SEC conference breakdown next week. I will say our buddy Carl Prather.
No more teams.
Our buddy Carl Prather, our coworker here, he is predicting the Auburn Tigers are going to make the college football playoff, which is a wild prediction.
8 teams? 6? What? How many teams we got this
12
year?
12 teams.
Oh, 12. Whoo, Carl.
And Auburn won 5 games last year. So
what is wrong with our man?
So that means they got in the top 5 draft picks, right?
Yeah. They got the first number 1 shot at the new NIL free agency. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, who did they get in the portal that I don't know about?
I don't even know, but somehow they're going to manage to win 5 more games with a tougher schedule and make the college football playoff, according to Carl Prather. So
War Eagle.
We shall see.
Well, I'll say roll tide to that one, and we'll talk to y'all next week. Thanks, y'all.